Jon Gruden, first of all, I guess late last week, posted a video of himself getting a big box from the University of Tennessee's football department that I assume was gear. That's all I could watch of it because I covered Gruden so much. I was pretty sick of him back then. I knew he was never going to be Tennessee's head coach, so I didn't watch much of the video. But essentially, he gets a big box of stuff. Okay, so good for you. You got a big box of stuff from Tennessee. But what else did he do, Caleb?
He decided to video chat Ryan Williams, the All-American freshman receiver for Alabama last year, and talk about how he hates Alabama and says he's a Tennessee Vol. I want to play the clip real quick because this is what Jon Gruden said on a video call on the phone just the other day.
I hate Alabama.
What?
I'm a Tennessee Vol, man.
That's
My
okay.
wife went to Tennessee.
I mean,
You guys,
y'all come to.
Okay. What's your take on that?
Him calling himself a Tennessee Vol is really, really, really rich when he strung along Tennessee for 2 coaching searches and rejected it both times. And he's so obviously the popular girl that wants to be courted, but then likes to reject you when she's being courted. That's who Jon Gruden is. There is a old Nickelodeon cartoon where not old actually, it's just a cartoon called Fairly Odd Parents, where the kid Timmy Turner had a crush on this popular girl. She always ignored him. One day she's like, I'm ignoring you, and Timmy doesn't say anything, and then she's like, stop ignoring me, ignoring you. That's Jon Gruden, honestly.
Well, it is Jon Gruden, and here's my other problem with Jon Gruden is, yes, he wants to be courted. Now, I'll say this, and I wrote this column a couple of weeks back. I would seriously consider making him the director of player personnel or the GM or whatever they do. Vanderbilt did that with Barton Simmons in an unusual move. He was a recruiting analyst. And then, Mark Nagy with the Senior Bowl went to Oklahoma. So you've seen these, we'll call them, man, Mark would be upset with me saying this. Barton probably would too, but I'm going to say pseudo football guys. In other words, guys that aren't sleeping on the couch in the office, that aren't doing those sorts of things, that haven't had to do that, haven't had to recruit. You're seeing guys do that with pseudo football guys. Well, Gruden's a real football guy. He just happens to be a guy that's reputation is ruined in the NFL, so he can never go back there. And I'm not sure he ever would have been a great college coach anyway. It takes an awful lot of recruiting. You got to be tireless. I don't really think he would have been a good head coach. I think Tennessee dodged that bullet. But ultimately, Jon Gruden, man, I would consider player personnel, and I'll go ahead and say it. Unlike when he was supposedly courted by Tennessee, I believe, Caleb, that he wants to be the GM at Tennessee, and that's why he continues to flirt on social media with the Vols.
Oh, I do too. I do too. I think he wants a job. He wants to do something football related, and I think he's really flirting with them hard right now. And
I don't think they're flirting back.
I totally agree. The reason I don't think they're flirting back, this isn't coming from Josh Heupel or Danny White. This is coming from even higher up. I believe there are some Tennessee administrators that are so angry with Jon Gruden. You know what it reminds me about of Dave? So 2017, when that whole post-Butch Jones coaching search fiasco happened, where obviously the Greg Schiano thing happened, there were a lot of Tennessee fans, and I think some Tennessee administrators that wanted Tennessee to hire Lane Kiffin back. But you and I both know there are some people in power at Tennessee that will never forgive Lane Kiffin for what happened, for the way he left in 2009. So there's no way Tennessee can hire him, ever.
Completely agree with Gruden. I'll take it a step further. I don't think it's just administrators. I think there are some boosters that are still upset with Gruden and the way he led Tennessee on. Because from what I was told during this whole search, there were about 40% of the boosters that thought it was a real possibility and thought it was just a matter of time that he would be Tennessee's next head coach. And then I heard from Gruden's camp, and I'm talking about an impeccable source, that he was never really interested in going back to college. He views himself as an NFL coach. To some coaches, Caleb, that's a better job. To me, I think they're equal, tit for tat. But he views himself as an NFL head coach. So I don't know if Tennessee would ever make a run at him, but he's not getting any younger. I think he's, 63 all of a sudden? So
Probably.
if he's going to make that move, it better be pretty quick.
Yeah, and my comparison to NFL college is if you're just a ball guy, NFL is probably better because like you don't have so many other things and you're involved in your life that you have to deal with that you do in college. You can just coach football in the NFL. And I think Gruden was always too lazy to ever recruit or do any of that type of work. But you're right, as a GM scouting high school talent, that strikes me something Gruden would love to do. But also,
But not go to the games on Friday nights.
Right, exactly.
Like Derek Dooley didn't like doing that. That's why he didn't go to one during his entire tenure at Tennessee.
Oh my gosh. And what was that? Oh no, I knew that. I knew that. But to be fair, I mean, Jeremy Pruitt didn't go to a lot of games in Tennessee because Jeremy Pruitt felt Tennessee talent was even more overrated than the stars than his star rating indicated. So he exclusively just avoided recruiting the state of Tennessee in a lot of ways.
At least he had a reason. I still don't know. I don't know Derek Dooley's reasoning for not going 90 minutes down the road to Chattanooga to see Von Bell.
Well, how was he going to have time to clean up to paint the doors at his office if he did that?
Yes. Well, I don't think it was painting the doors. What I was told is it was he was working on the drywall. He told the guy to take a break and he worked on the drywall in his first week at Tennessee, and people were going, "That's not good."
Yeah. Why are you worried about the drywall? Why do you care? That's like when he taught the shower discipline, right? We're going to teach the players how to shower.
Yes. The show is presented by Banks & Jones, Tennessee's trial attorney, banksandjones.com, as we broadcast live from the Ted Russell Ford Lincoln studio. What the H, brought to you by our fantastic friends at Rick Terry Jewelry Design. By the way, we have a special prize that we're going to announce a little bit later this week from Rick Terry Jewelry Design. They are absolutely phenomenal. They bring you what the H?
Having been in the jewelry industry for a long time in the Knoxville community, I saw a need for a jeweler, a real jeweler.
Our ability to do these designs has really been based on the customers bringing new things in and challenging us as a store. Our goal is not to tell anybody what they want. Our goal is to listen to what they want and then help them get there.
Schedule your consultation today to get your special someone the perfect.
Okay, who do you think Tennessee's fan base would welcome back quicker or welcome back more openly? Is it Jon Gruden, who was a GA at Tennessee, who dated a girl and married her at Tennessee and has a Sevierville home in Tennessee and blah, 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 or Lane Kiffin? Let's make that a poll question. Who would you welcome back sooner, Lane Kiffin or Jon Gruden? Because I'm going to go ahead and tell you, take the emotions out of it, you would get a much better football guy in Lane Kiffin than you would Jon Gruden, who inherited his Super Bowl, who was a big bag of hot air. And I think that Lane Kiffin is a special offensive mind.
And we're talking about two people hired by Al Davis in their 30s to coach the Raiders. Funny enough.
True.
One had a much more publicly bitter departure from Al Davis than the other one. But yeah, between the two, I think Tennessee fans would welcome back Jon Gruden. They don't feel as upset. They blame John Curry and the Haslam's more for that than anything. But I'm with you. I think you take Lane Kiffin back. I'm sorry. I would 100% take. I would have hired him back in 2017, honestly. And I know that was crazy, but Lane, whatever else you want to say about Lane, that dude knows ball. Okay. And he is maximizing what's possible at Ole Miss right now. He's not the best motivator of talent or leader of people, but one of the things that's revealing to me, Dave, about Jon Gruden and how overrated of a coach I realize he is, you're right, he inherited that team. And then the year he won the Super Bowl, there are some suspicions that Bill Callahan kind of gave Jon Gruden that playbook because he sabotaged the Raiders because he thought Jon Gruden was done wrong.
Oh, my goodness.
There's some rumors on that.
My goodness.
But more importantly, and Adam already brings it up because, well, Adam brings it up about Kiffin. But Adam, you're forgetting one thing. Who was Monty Kiffin tied to before his son? He was tied to Jon Gruden. And I don't know if you guys remember this, but 2008, Tampa Bay, first in the division. They were going to the playoffs. Jon Gruden's rolling. It is not announced, but it's publicly known. Dave knows it before anybody else that Monty Kiffin is going to leave Tampa Bay at the end of the year, right?
Yeah, I actually flew down to interview Monty Kiffin after they were eliminated from the playoffs and his defense got shredded, and asked him a question to which he said no comment.
Yes, Monty Kiffin had checked out. He stopped caring once he knew he was going to Tennessee. What did Tampa Bay do with the lead in the division? They lost their last like 6 games and got eliminated from the playoffs because Gruden couldn't carry that team without Monty Kiffin being dialed in with that. I mean, that whole, even when Tony Dungy was there, that entire team was built by Monty Kiffin's Tampa 2 defense, honestly. So
I agree. And that defense was loaded.
loaded.
About that. I mean, when your 4th or 5th player is Rondé Barber, who, you know, was a very good player. I mean, you got Warren Sapp, you got
Simeon Rice.
Who's the other linebacker they had that was so fantastic?
I'm not sure. A long
They,
time ago.
let's say it. They were loaded, absolutely loaded.
90% of the time we tout NFL coaches on this the Monty Kiffin defense or the Bill Belichick defense. Well, yeah, it's easy when you got Lawrence Taylor on one side. Or, I mean, you know this as a Cowboy fan, the Norv Turner offense. Well, geez, you and I could have coached that team with that offense.
There's some truth to that. The show represented by Banks & Jones, Tennessee's trial attorney, banksandjones.com. We broadcast live from the Ted Russell Ford Lincoln Studios. Don't forget, Sports Treasures, carrying over 5 million sports treasures and so much more. Follow on Facebook for the best sports memorabilia, daily updates. The link is right there. Go to facebook.com, and they've got these daily pools where you can win all kinds of fantastic prizes. You will love Sports Treasures, no question about it. Again, we talk Gruden or Kiffin. Who would Tennessee fans welcome back more? Where do we stand on that poll question on the YouTuber?
72% are saying Jon Gruden. It's emotional, guys. I'm sorry, but that's an emotional response, isn't it? You'd rather have Lane Kiffin.
Well, let me play the other side, though. If we're just talking about a GM, a director of personnel type guy, then I think you could make that argument. Because aren't you essentially then, aren't we comparing Josh Heupel to Lane Kiffin? And there's still the Philly goods with Josh Heupel. There's not the Philly goods with Lane Kiffin. So I could see somebody saying welcome him back as a GM more so than welcoming Kiffin back as a coach. But as a football man, I want the smartest football men in the building. That's what I want. Caleb, I'm not really worried about what a guy does in the off time, as long as he's bringing football knowledge into the building.
Oh yeah, I agree with you on that. I think that the football knowledge is the thing that's most important. Now, again, for a head coach at college, you got to have a little more CEO skills to a certain degree. But I mean, honestly, this day and age, with the way things are going, you can hire more people to do that. I mean, Josh Heupel, let's be honest, Josh Heupel at his roots is just a ball guy. He wants to focus on how he develops his offense each year, and that's all he wants to do.
Travis is one of my favorite posters, but I gotta differ with you on this. Kiffin is sleazy, maybe, but first of all, most football coaches are sleazy at that level. But are you telling me Jon Gruden isn't sleazy? You don't think he strung Tennessee along?
Yeah, Jon Gruden is 100% sleazy. You know who else was sleazy? Urban Meyer. You think Florida cares? They got 2 national titles out of him in 3 years.